This is the Charles Cook Podcast, where lovers of liberty and individual rights in Tennessee go to get information, focusing on state and local issues from Bristol to Memphis, discussing the important issues with facts, truths, and opinions based on constitutional principles. Remember, we stimulate, but never indoctrinate your mind. Welcome to the Charles Cook Podcast.
Well, let's talk about immigration. It's been a topic for how many years now? And everybody wants to build a wall. They think that building a wall is going to fix the immigration system. And I firmly believe if you think building a wall is going to fix the problem, you don't understand the problem. No big secret. I've never been a wall person. I can understand why people want a border wall, seeing what's going on. We're being flooded by millions of people coming to this country, and we can't handle this. It's killing our budgets at the federal level, state level, and the local levels. And so, but everybody wants a wall now. Majority of conservatives, at least, want a wall. Why? How? What turns me against a wall? Well, I'm old enough to remember a president in the 1980s standing in West Germany at the wall, at the Berlin Wall, calling on Gorbachev from the Soviet Union to tear down the wall. Ronald Reagan said, "Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall." Here's the deal. I don't believe free people live behind walls. Now, like I said, I understand why people now are crying to build a wall. I understand it. But is that going to fix the situation? Now, remember, when people call for things and you get it, you don't always have that person in charge that did that, built the wall or whatever. Perfect example. After 9/11, George W. Bush and the Republicans, Democrats, passed what we call is the Patriot Act and the National Defense of America Act. And that's what everybody wanted. It's going to bring us security against a terrorist. And it would only be used against terrorists. And we look now and we see that it's being used against American citizens, political opponents. That's what it's come to. But everybody thought, oh, we can do this. It'll be great. It's for security. Well, it's not being used for security. It's being used against the American people now. So the same wall that is built right now to keep people out can also be used in 10 years to keep people in. I mean, wake up. Do you not see people already talking about doing away with the First Amendment, regulating the First Amendment, taking away guns, blah, 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 blah. Do you trust these establishment hacks, globalists, to not use a wall to keep people in this country? Especially people that disagree with them on political ideology and stuff. I know that this is a very touchy subject, the immigration and the wall and everything. But I'm going to tell you a little story. And this opened my eyes to it. And I've been wanting to tell this story for a long time, but I never have done it because I didn't think people would understand it and comprehend it. But a few weeks ago, a friend of mine sent me this meme, and I said, wow, maybe people will understand it. This video has been on my mind for months doing this podcast. And I've put it off and I can't do it no more because it's burning in me and I have to do it. So this is the meme that the guy sent me. And I'm not going to go through all of it. It talks about, well, I'll just show you. All right. I don't know if this is actually true or not, but if Steve Harvey sent this out or not. But it says how I feel about Trump. I've been on vacation. You've been on vacation for 2 weeks. You come home and your basement is infested with raccoons. Hundreds of rabid, messy, mean raccoons have taken over your basement. You want them gone immediately, but you call the city and 4 different exterminators and nobody can handle the job. But there's this one guy, and he guarantees to get rid of them. So you hire him. You don't care if the guy swears, if you don't care how many times he's been married, you don't care if he has a plumber's crack. You simply want the raccoons gone. You want your problem fixed. He's the guy. He's the best. Here is why we want Trump. Okay. Yes, he's a bit of a jerk, and yes, he's an egomaniac, but we don't care. And it goes on. So it's the part about the raccoons. And that's what convinced me that I have to do this video. It's kind of like confirmation. I hope you understand that. So back in 2013, 2013, I was up in Chantilly, Virginia at Liberty Political Action Conference with a friend of mine. And my wife come in one night while I was gone, one of those nights while I was gone, and she flipped on the basement light and she saw a black snake hanging down the wall. And she called me and she said, Charles, I just come in. There's a black snake hanging down the wall. I screamed and ran upstairs. I said, okay. So it's a black snake. She said, yes. And I said, where did it go? And she said, I think it went back up the basement wall and, went down in the blocks. I said, okay. I said, well, the snake's probably more as scared of you as you are of it. I said, I will check it when I get home. Just when you go in the basement, watch where you're at. So I come home, I get back home, and I'm in the basement, and I'm looking for this thing, this snake. And I'm like, on our way back, I'm thinking, usually if there's a snake comes in the house, it's for a reason. It's either looking for warmth or there's a food source. So that's usually one of the reasons that they come in. So I said, well, when I get back, I'll look at it. So I get home, come to the basement, start looking around. I don't see no snake, but I see evidence of other critters. And I'm looking and I'm seeing evidence of mice. So, okay, that explains the black snake. So I get to looking, and we had this wagon for when our boys were smaller. We used to take it to the park and pull the boys around in it. And I had a big bag of bird seed in this wagon. And these mice had got into this thing. And it was nasty. I mean, they had, you can, if you know anything about mice and the nastiness that they can do, then you can imagine what it looked like. I get to looking around my garage door, the base, the rubber strip under my garage door in the corners had holes chewed in it and everything. They were coming in no matter what, and getting this stuff. So I knew I had to get rid of these things. So I set mouse traps. I bought 4 mouse traps, filled them. One of those mouse traps, I caught 2 mice in the same trap at the same time. I took a picture of it, showed it to some guys at work. So, you know, my basement was closed. You know, there was birdseed in here. Now, we'd open up the basement door when we take the car in and out. So when you open the door, they come in. But not only when they get in here, they know that it's here. So when they go in and out, they chewed the bottom of my door out. So now they're coming in and out, and a snake's coming in and out. And now I've got to get rid of these things. So I set mouse traps. But in order for me to totally get this thing under control, what did I have to get rid of? The birdseed. The birdseed had to go. But wait, why did I have the birdseed? Well, I had the birdseed because I was wanting to feed the birds. I'd put bird feeders in a dogwood tree that I have. And, well, guess what was happening out there? Raccoons would climb the tree and knock them down. Squirrels would climb the trees and knock them down. You got to be careful. Bears will be attracted to bird seed when they can't find nothing else. So even the bird seed that I had got, even using it for the purpose that I wanted to use it for, was even causing a problem. But all I wanted to do is feed the birds. But this is a whole mess now, simply because I had bird seed and trying to do something good with it. Okay? And it dawned on me. This is our problem with immigration. Okay? Now, I'm not saying that immigrants are mice or equal to mice. It's not what I'm saying. But the situations is the same. I had something in my basement that I was wanting to use for good, that I wanted to use for good, and it was attracting other things because of it. And sooner or later, even though my basement was closed, they were still getting in. So if you build a wall, a 25-foot wall, then somebody's going to build a 35-foot ladder. We already know that there has been massive tunnels dug under the U.S. border. You can go do some searches on that. I think Sean Hannity did some on Fox News, done some reporting on that 10 or 15 years ago. So the wall is going to be there, and people think that's going to solve the problem, but they're still going to get in. Well, like the bird seed, why are they wanting to get in? Well, we have something here that's causing the problem. And that problem is drawing people here. Now, do we want immigrants to come to this country? Absolutely. And, you know, when I tell you that I'm not a fan of a wall, but I do believe in secure borders. If you don't have borders, you don't have a country. That's just a fact. I believe in your borders. The country's got to protect its borders. And we have people that can do that. But, you know, but if you take the liberal approach, well, then you got birdseed here. You're feeding the birds. Then why don't you just do what our government has done and open up the doors here in the basement and let everything in and just keep feeding more? Well, I'm going to get broke buying birdseed because everything around me is going to be coming to my basement to eat the birdseed. This is the problem in our country. We do not see what the birdseed is. What's the birdseed? The birdseed is our welfare program, our entitlement handout programs. Okay? We have people, we pay people, healthy people, to stay at home and not work. It started out with good intentions, just like mine, to feed the birds. And then it led to other things. If you think I'm wrong, think about it. The more the handouts and entitlements and welfare distribution grew, the more immigration grew. Why does our government leave the border open? Why does the Chamber of Commerce and places like that lobby for the border to stay open? Why would why would Congress agree on a bill that would let up to 5,000 people a day come to the country across the border? 5,000 a day. Well, when you hit the 5,000, that was the trigger, and you shut it down until the next day. Now figure out 5,000 a day for 365 days a year. How many people is that let into the country? We will not fix our immigration system until we get rid of our birdseed. And it's a tough situation. It's a tough job. And you've got to have you got to have politicians who are willing to look at it and do it. You cannot pay people to stay at home that are healthy and able to work and have these businesses have jobs that people will not leave welfare to go work. This is the problem. We have to have people smart enough to think about this and then have the guts to say, we got to end this. This has got to stop, because it's got to the point now, and we're seeing it in the news now, that they're taking that money, and even the people who come across the border are getting help now. So, you know, you come across the border, they give you this money, they give you money each month, to a stipend each month, whatever you want to call it, to rent. We see the whole thing. They talk about the housing crisis. You know, we don't have enough houses. Well, when you let 20 million people into the country, you can't build 20 million houses in 4 years. But nobody wants to talk about the real issues, because here's the thing. just like me wanting to feed the birds in this case is the American people. We started out feeding the American people, and then they stay at home and don't want to work. And the handouts just keep growing. Now you've got 50% of the American people getting some kind of handout. And no, I'm not saying Social Security is a handout. You've paid that in. That's not a handout. That's money you paid in that they owe you back. Okay? The birdseed, in this case, is the welfare program. Until we do something about the welfare program and get healthy Americans up off of their lazy butts and back to work, then nothing will happen. We have to, it's a tough decision that somebody's going to have to make. But it's going to happen because we're going broke. We are going broke as a nation. And when we go broke and these people don't get their handouts and they don't want to work, things are going to get ugly. So somebody had better step up and say, we're taking the birdseed back. You know, the Bible says if you don't work, you don't eat. You earn your living by the sweat of your brow. It also says that God will provide food for the birds, but here I was trying to feed them. You ever seen a bird laying around starving to death? No, because they're provided for. If you'll get up off your lazy butt, if these people will get up off their butts, they can feed themselves and they can feed their families. Fathers walk away from families now because they don't have to worry about them starving to death and everything, or dying from starvation, because they know the government will feed them. A lot of times they divorce and still live in the same house because the government will feed them all. The welfare system is the birdseed. And we're letting people come across the border now, unchecked. Sign in on that. And not even on the border. Let them come across the border. We are flying people in. That's what happened in Springfield, Ohio. They flew these people in. 20,000 Haitians in a town of 60,000 people. You added 20,000 more. What do you think that did to the local school systems? We have lost our minds. And that's not just the Haitians. They said they had plants, businesses in Ohio, up in Springfield, Ohio. Now, I don't know if this is true. This is just what they say, that people didn't want to work. Wonder why they didn't want to work? Because they're getting paid to stay at home on their butts. So the Chamber of Commerce, they lobby Congress and in these other places so they can bring these people in to fill jobs that businesses are trying to make a living, trying to, have a business and run it, but they need helpers. And they can't pay more than the welfare system and make a profit. So their competition is the government handouts. I guess you can see I got a passion. I mean, this, and and people think, oh, it's the Democrats. No, this has been going on for decades. I would, even in the 1950s, we had an issue. And Eisenhower had to deport. Look it up. You can find it. Do some research. And then it started again, slowly, with under Johnson, the Great Society, or or whatever it was called. Then it slowly started growing. And they got here, and Ronald Reagan gave them amnesty, and it slowly pulled the lid off of it. And now, as the welfare system has grown and the handouts have grown, and people stay at home and sit on their sorry butts and don't work, they bring people in to fill these positions, and then they give them housing and everything else. Now, I don't blame those people down there or from other parts of the world. If I'm living in some of the conditions that they're living in, I'm trying to get to America too, because they're coming here for a better life. But if they can't come here and get a job, if the jobs are filled, if everybody's working like they should, and we still have jobs that need to be filled, then we bring people in. We bring immigration in to fill those jobs. That's what countries do. That's what you should do. But now we're bringing them in, letting them work, and then we're feeding them, financing them, and everything else on top of it. We're taking tax dollars away from people that work and then giving it to the migrants. And then, it's breaking the country along with everything else that we're giving away. We're giving away, foreign aid to Israel and Ukraine and all these other countries where there's not a line of text in the Constitution that gives the Congress or the president the authority and the ability to give your tax dollars away to another country. But they do it, and it's breaking us. Now, I want to share a story with you because, I believe in legal immigration, and when we need people to work. I met a man about 2 years ago who shared his story with me. He was from Vietnam. And he told me, he said, you remember the iconic picture in Saigon in 1975 with the Chinook helicopter, or the helicopter on top of the building, and there were people lined up to get in a helicopter to try to be flown out? I said, yeah. He said, well, I was 1 year old and I was in line. I said, really? He said, yeah. He said, I was there with my mom and dad and my grandfather and grandmother. And he said, but we didn't get out. He said, my grandfather was helping the U.S. government during the war. And we knew if we didn't get out, we were in trouble. Or they knew. He was 1 year old, so he didn't comprehend what was going on. But he was telling the story. And so he said, we got left behind. The Vietnamese government comes in. They know they're looking for people who worked with the U.S. government and everything. They burn everything you have. They take everything you have. You're left with nothing. You have to start over. But he said, so his grandfather went through the process of trying to get to citizenship and migrate to the United States. And during the process, his grandfather died. So his father had to start all over with it again. So once his father, took years for him to get everything set up for him and his minor children to get to the United States. And this gentleman told me, he said, when my dad and mom got everything done so they could come to the United States, I was of age. So they left me behind in Vietnam and moved to the United States. Then I had to start my process to get to the United States. So this man did that. I think he told me he was 46 years old. I think that's what he said to me. That he was 46 years old when he finally got to come to the United States. And he said, I got here and I wanted to be an American citizen. So I did everything I had to do to become an American citizen. And he told me, he said, the day that I took the oath to the Constitution, that I swore the citizenship here, took the oath to the United States Constitution, he said, on that day was the first time in my life that I felt like a free man. He lives in New York. And he says, now I can go to 2 streets in New York City and they're filled with illegal immigrants that come here, and people will go down and hire these people and pay them cash. And everything that me and my family went through is a slap in the face to us because of what they're doing. They work for cash. They don't have to pay taxes. He said, I live in New York City, so you can imagine the taxes that I pay. And he was a pretty successful guy. So, you know, it's pretty terrible story. Need to check something here. So, you know, the guys in New York City, this is what he's seeing. So, to all those people who done it the right way and come here, and now they're letting people pour over the border, even flying people in. And I mean, by the thousands, the hundreds and thousands, to bringing these towns, these small towns, and, you know, you're increasing, you know, a town of 60,000 by another 20,000. This is what they're doing. And you can't, I mean, yeah, I understand why people is upset. Because when the school system gets overfilled and the school's not big enough, what they ask for? To build a new school. Well, who's going to pay the taxes? The taxpayers are going to pay to build the new school. When the crime goes up, who's going to build it? You know, what are they going to do? Well, they're going to build a new jail. It's just a never-ending process. But people don't want to talk about the real issue here. We have to get rid of the bird seed. Although the bird seed was, as many people would say, was a noble concept to help the people. But it created a problem. The bird seed, the welfare system, has fed this problem. We can build a wall. It won't stop it. It may slow it down, but it won't stop it. And here's the thing. If you build the wall, and then somewhere down the line we decide, well, 2 things happen. You're going to go broke, and these people are going to try to get out of the country, and now they can't because of the wall. Or you fix the welfare system, and you have to be an American citizen to work. What are they going to do? They got to self-deport. Now they can't get across the wall. They're going to have to go through certain sections. What's going to happen? Don't know. You think these people are going to walk all the way back to Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador? they had a lot of help to get here. Are they going to have that help to get back? And the thing is, as Christians, you can't look at people and hate these people. You're not supposed to. You're not supposed to hate these people because they come here for a better life. Because your government created a system that invited them in. You can't hate these people for that. But something has to be done. And it's going to take somebody with courage. It's going to take more than one somebody. It's either you're going to go broke, and it's got to be fixed, or you have to make some tough decisions to fix it. And that tough decision is going to make American-born people mad. Because, I understand, but my niece, she needs it. She got to feed her kids. Why can't she work? Why can't she feed her kids? As I said, you got to get up more. Well, they don't have daycare. Heard that on the debate the other night. Child care. Got to get back to being a nuclear American family. But we have spent ourselves into oblivion that one person can't work and support a family like you could 50 years ago. It hadn't been that long ago when one person could work and support a family. And I did it for several years. You just got to decide what you want, what's more important to you. But that's another subject. That's another video. But we have to fix it. One more story. Went to Walmart several years ago. I go in. Get a couple items I have. I got them in my hands. I didn't even have a buggy. This is before they put in all the self-checkouts. They have really one line open at the time. So I'm standing in this one line, and there's a Hispanic lady at the register, and she's got her groceries, and she's got things separated. What she's paying for with WIC, what she's paying for with the SNAP card, and what she's paying for with cash. So she's really doing 3 transactions. Then there's another couple, a white couple, in front of me, between her and me. And they've got 2 buggies. Soft drinks hanging all around the top of the buggies, everything else. And they're standing there huffing and puffing. Well, another line opens. I could tell they were upset because they was having to wait behind her. And probably she was, using her government money. So I'm standing here, and I've got my few items. The Hispanic lady goes on. I get to the register, and I'm paying for my things, and I noticed the ones that over here huffing and puffing, when they went to pay, guess what they paid with? You got it. Food stamps, the SNAP card. Who had a few items and was paying out of my pocket? Me. So we got to understand the problem with immigration and illegal immigration, whatever you want to call it. Illegal immigration, illegal migrants, undocumented people, call it whatever you want. But you got to understand what's causing the problem. The welfare system is causing the problem. You got to get people up off of their sorry butts and get them to work. Get Americans back to work. Quit breaking working people, paying for them to stay home. It's the only way it's going to be fixed. You have got to understand what's causing the problem. So you now can demand that it gets fixed. It happens at every level. You have the handouts at the local level. You have the handouts at the state level and the federal level. And you know it. So when these politicians start saying, yeah, we got to build a wall, we got to fix this, check them and see if they know what the problem is. And then say, what are you going to do with the entitlements and handouts and welfare systems that is attracting all this stuff? What are you going to do? Don't tell me about building a wall. Tell me how you're going to fix the broken system that created this mess. Okay. I hope this makes sense. I think it's important that we understand. You can't understand, as Ross Perot says, you can't fix the car if you don't raise the hood. He was a smart man. He would have made a great president. So, now you heard me. I hope this makes sense to you. And I hope that you can use it to articulate what's wrong with our system now and what we have to do to fix it. Yeah, there's people out here that's run out on bad luck, but people who have a drug issue shouldn't be sitting at home drawing a check. So people who have alcohol issues shouldn't be sitting at home drawing a check. People who can't read or write shouldn't be sitting at home drawing a check because they can't read and write. There's work you can do. There's work they can do. Even in other countries, somebody, they're handicapped, they're in a wheelchair. You got the governor of Texas that's in a wheelchair, but he's successful. You got blind people walking to the volunteer blind center to work. Blind people, because they want to work. They want to be part of something. They want to feel successful. But then you have those that want to sit on their butt and draw a check. Want to have an extra kid so they can draw more money. Do your research. You can see it. It's awful that the people want to have more kids so they can get more money. And then come tax time, they get unearned income. They get more money than you get back because they didn't work. That would make your blood boil. All right, I'm going to shut up. I thank you for watching, listening. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate if you'd share this with your friends and family. And hopefully someday we can wake up and understand what's causing this issue in our country. We'll see you on the next podcast.